Survivorman has been long regarded as the only authentic survival TV show out there, as many others are scripted or don't show real survival skills. I decided to watch some episodes for myself, starting with the very first episode. I was excited to see Les attempting a bow drill fire, as friction fires are a true test of skill. But I was very disappointed, not because it took him 10.5 hours, but because he clearly faked it. I watched more episodes of Survivorman and found numerous other instances of him faking the show or teaching wrong information. So I searched online for people debunking Survivorman or criticizing him. To my surprise, I only found 2 websites pointing out that the set for an episode was next to a road and addressed other logistical errors in the information he gave the audience. I know the video I'm about to make is going to receive a lot of negativity, but for the sake of the truth, someone has to say something. But before we get started, who is this someone that's speaking about this? Well, my name is Truman Lee Solomon, and I'm a former wilderness survival and primitive living skills instructor, practicing what I taught in the mountains of Vermont for over 9 years. I've done wildlife conservation work in the Amazon rainforest for Hoja Nueva, the site of Prime Video's Wildcat. I spent time learning from hunter-gatherer Matt Graham in southern Utah, and I currently work as a wilderness therapy guide. So you could say I know what I'm talking about. I also have videos on my YouTube channel and my TikTok to support the credibility of my statements. Okay, let's jump right into the bow drill scene I was talking about. Right away, we see no smoke and hear unpromising signs with his set. Sure enough, he fails. Several hours go by, and we continue to watch him fail again and again. His final attempt is no different. Poor mechanics and no smoke. I'll show you why this is important in a second. After a supposedly failed attempt, he takes a break to fix his bowstring. When suddenly, we're shown smoke coming from the set that Les claims is an ember that formed off camera. He then blows on his ember until it becomes a flame. There are 2 things wrong with this claim. For one, the telltale sign of an ember is when smoke comes from the dust you generate from bow drilling. Sometimes the dust smokes and you still don't get an ember. We saw no smoke coming from the dust pile, if there even was one. 2. The bow drill set was so poor, there's no way it could have produced an ember. Fast and consistent rotations of the spindle, along with a decent amount of down pressure, are needed for an ember. Les's mechanics are anything but these. We should also be seeing smoke, and a good amount of it. We don't see this either. Yet, we're still led on to believe he started a fire. To show you just what I'm talking about, here's a demonstration I've done of proper bow drill mechanics and what an ember would look like. I would have had no problem with him failing the attempt, as friction fire is a skill that even experts, including myself, will fail at time to time. What I do have a problem with is that he uses cutscenes to make an ember appear out of nowhere. And faking an ember is as easy as lighting a pile of dust. Les loves using camera cuts and off-camera action, as we see him do this over and over again with his fires, where we don't see the full process. Yes, this was the actual transition used for the episode. The next piece of evidence I would like to point out is the peanut butter jar in Season 2, Episode 1. In the beginning, Les shows the audience what he's been left with, including a jar of peanut butter. A few days later, he eats the peanut butter, claiming it only had a few scoops inside.
The jar of peanut butter wasn't actually full. There was only a few tablespoons in it.
But if we rewind to day 1, we can clearly see a full jar of peanut butter. I know many of you are thinking, what's the big deal? It's just a jar of peanut butter. And I don't think the jar itself is a big deal. But why did Les feel the need to lie about it? If he was willing to lie about a jar of peanut butter, what other and bigger elements of the show are also fake? But not only is Survivorman staged, the lessons or skills Les demonstrates are plain wrong and dangerous if followed. Take his drinking habits, for instance. Every outdoorsman knows that drinking untreated water risks the contamination of harmful pathogens, but not Les. Time and time again, we see him drinking water without treating it, and for a while, we see him miraculously not getting sick, at least on camera.
I'm pretty confident that this stream is clean and clear.
It wasn't.
In the middle of the night, I got hit with
severe diarrhea. Middle of the night last night, again this morning, and very weak, very shaky.
And because diseases like Giardia take 2 to 5 days to show up, who knows how many times he got sick after the episode ended. He also gives us bad advice like,
always wear cotton socks.
Even though he's in a swamp, the last thing anyone would want in a wet and unsanitary environment is to wear material that retains water on your feet. That's just asking for trench foot. We also see him eat mushrooms he isn't sure of.
I'm actually not all that good with mushrooms and knowing which one is which. And see, the thing is, with mushrooms, if you're wrong, you're dead. This is called shaggy mane, I hope. If you don't know, do not even touch it. I hope that was a shaggy mane, or I'm in big trouble.
Doing whatever this is,
And hopefully a seagull or a raven or something might land and go for that. And if they come for it, I got a chance of grabbing.
and following a number of other bad ideas. So not only is Les staging his show, but he is also comically incompetent as a survival expert. And so, it only makes sense why this guy has to fake doing something to appear credible. There are countless other instances of Survivorman either being phony or misleading or not knowing what he's doing. Perhaps in the future, I'll do a second video pointing some of these out. To be clear, I understand other survival shows are built upon fixed scenes, and as I've shown, Survivorman has his fair share of these as well. But it's the fact that he and his fan base deem Survivorman authentic and the real deal that bothers me when he is clearly just as phony and more incompetent than other TV survivalists. I've gone over pieces of evidence in the show that either prove or strongly imply staging, but again, what else was he faking? Was he actually sleeping in his shelters overnight? Was he being brought food by his crew? Were all those items found really there? Les shouldn't be called Survivorman because of his wilderness skills, but because of how long he's lasted without getting called out. But that changes today.